Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm delighted that this morning I have in front of me the Vice President of Research for Destinations International. I'm sure there's a bigger title than that, but that's the one I'm going with.
That's fine with me.
And it's Andreas Vizenborn. This sounds very German, but guten Tag.
Sehr gut.
Andreas, tell me a little bit about what you do. I mean, what essentially is, what's a life in the day of Andreas at Destinations International consist of?
Sure, absolutely. So the full title, Vice President of Research, Advocacy, and Tools. I've been with the association for going on 10 years now. Before that, spent a decade or plus as a member. So always had a deep appreciation of the work of the trade association, what it meant, and what it could do for the members. My responsibilities have always been in the verticals of research, analytics. I would say the advocacy component is more of a new thing as my role here because as destination organizations and the industry has gotten way more smarter and technical with data and analytics, sort of as a given now, it really has become about how do we articulate those as a story and a narrative to tell the role of destination organization. So the vast majority of my time is helping educate our members on why they're vital, why they're essential, why they're important, and we do that through a mixture of both research, philosophy, tools, and education and professional development. And then the other one is then helping them understand how they can then tell that story to their own stakeholders, right? So there's not a day goes by that I'm not working with our advocacy committee members and helping them reframe their value proposition to their community, or stepping into the role of helping administer our tools and how they can use it for business events or funding or policy.
So would it be a commonplace for you to get a call from a DMO saying where our funding is being threatened?
Yes.
Can you give us advice? Can you give us some tools? Can you give us some case studies, etc., etc.? Is that a commonplace event?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a call center going to me effectively like that. I mean, it speaks unfortunately to some of the world we live in right now, that unfortunately, as big as our sector has become, we are still unfortunately a lot of times as vulnerable as we've ever been. There's definitely a mixture of crosswinds that are happening politically, not just the US, but globally. And sometimes, unfortunately, destination organizations are caught in those crosshairs. It can be funding matters we get calls about. It can also be general relevancy. It can be flashpoints. Obviously, as this is being recorded, one of our members down in Texas, you've probably seen some of the news about that. How can we assist them with a natural disaster and crisis management and crisis communications? Yes, I mean, there's not a day goes by that we don't get a call. And that's the role of a trade association. We are here to help, we're here to listen and help support. And oftentimes it is the form of, okay, well, hey, there's a tool that they can help you solve this, or maybe it's no, I have a contemporary or a colleague you should talk to who went to this before. Or it's actually, no, here's actually a templated approach to talk about your funding and things like that. It can be very nuanced, and that is because honestly, especially when it comes to advocacy, I've come to learn every situation needs to be handled with care and nuance. There's never a blanketed approach to an advocacy issue. You have to treat everyone with a surgical precision, scalpel versus a sword.
It seems a more than common theme that both at a very small level, might be a small village, might be a small town, through to a county, through to a state, through to a big city, that often there's a challenge explaining how important tourism is, not just from an economic perspective, but from a social perspective, and how important it is for residents. Is that part of your work, is getting research and getting empirical evidence to support that?
Yes, and it's interesting because I think I look around the world nowadays, and I often say this term that we no longer live in a logical world. And I don't mean that inherently negative. I mean that as the opposite of logic, which is a very emotional and storied world. Meaning we make decisions and processes based upon story and emotion, but then we find stat and data to back it up. And one of the things that I've absolutely learned is that you can have the most perfect research or ROI statement, and that still doesn't get you across the finish line. What we spend a lot of time is helping mirror the stat and the story to present a value. One of the things that I've absolutely learned for the value proposition of destination organizations is that they help bring in the most valuable currency in the world right now, which is talent acquisition. Well, to get talent to your community, that starts with a brand, right? And as organizations, we don't own brands, we steward them and we share them with the community. Every community needs a brand at the world stage to attract a talent. If you don't have that and you don't have a brand, you fall behind. And that's sometimes the missing piece of organizations. It's very easy to articulate, well, we book meetings in groups, or we put heads in beds, or we put butts in seats. But to actually articulate the economic, social, and cultural significance of a brand, it's something that transcends really physical and virtual realms. You know, a positive brand then inspires the visit, and now you have a place that people want to visit. They hopefully want to come to choose to live there. You have a place where people choose to visit and live, then they choose to maybe want to work there. And now when you have a circle where people choose to live, visit, and work, investment follows. That's kind of what we call, for us philosophically, we call it the community vitality wheel. And at the core of it is a destination organization helping constantly spin it, keeping that brand management, synthesis of promotion and sales, keeping it moving to keep that essential to a community. But often that's not seen, you know, because it is like, well, what's just your dollar ROI amount, or what's your compression ratio of group sales and whatnot, versus actually know the articulation of a positive brand and how it reverberates through a community.
Good. Well, I trust that that's going to be your future work as well, increasingly, and I wish you the very, very best of luck.
Oh, thank you.
And I thank you very much for your time this morning.
Oh, thank you so much, Graham. I appreciate it.